I'm not insane!
I've actually never had to pass a piss test.
Really?
But I've helped many a friend pass a piss test. I mean, short of you actually buying somebody's piss, but you can never trust people.
Yeah, like, I don't want to have to go through the whole, like, keeping it strapped to my leg and then keeping it warm and all that shit.
Also, it's like, my friend did that, and then the person was on opiates.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
That's fucked. Like, I was half tempted to ask if I can take her pee because she doesn't do anything.
Right, but maybe she's, like, on Adderall or something, then it shows up for meth, right?
Exactly. That's why, like, I'm super, super glad that I'm no longer on Adderall, because, like, if I was on Adderall and I went and did this test, I would fail.
Right, and, like, weed takes forever to leave your system. So, you know. You can't, it's not, like, you're probably not going to fully pass it, but, like, you can trick it, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really hoping to get this job. I really need it. Need something other than
Is it like a rejection if they find you, like, don't pass the drug test? Like,
yeah. It's a rejection if I don't pass the drug test.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Just like a backup?
No, not at the current moment. And they said if I get rejected, it's a 6 months. I didn't mean, like, I can go and work with Steve. Because Steve works for a construction company, but it's also, like, I'm working for Steve. And we have to drive to fucking far-ass places.
Yeah, construction's hard because of the travel. I have to live in some weird, like, trailer village.
He's working in Fort Collins right now. Mm. And he said that one of his bosses asked him if he can go just stop by Colorado Springs before the end of the day.
Damn.
You know, if it's not out of the way from Fort fucking Collins.
Jesus.
It's like a 3-hour drive, but you know, it's out of the way. It's not out of the way.
Well, good luck to you.
Thanks. And welcome back to another episode of the Campfire Thoughts podcast. I am your host, Adrian, and today at the campfire we have my co-host, Seth Greenbaum.
Hello.
And how have you been lately, man?
I've been good. I'm newly employed.
Newly single, ready to mingle. Boys, hit us up.
And no, it's good. I'm having a good time. Well, no, I mean, the shit's, like, very weird, but in general, in the world. So not, like, everything's not normal, but things are pretty good.
It's normal enough that this is becoming the norm.
We get by.
Yeah. Life is life.
Mm-hmm.
And today, we have a very special story for you guys. This is something that comes straight from from our own hometown. Well, I guess I should say my hometown, not so much your hometown. Because this isn't in Maryland. This is in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
But today we're going to have the story of Theodore Edward Cooney's. Seth, what do you know about Theodore?
Well, I heard this story, like, years ago, I think, on a podcast. And he's known as the Spider-Man. And I've heard the story, and, like, I remember, like, little bits of it, but I'm excited to hear what you've researched.
Yeah, I was looking into it, and, like, it's some real fucking crazy things with Theodore. He was a very, very deranged human being that, you know, had a hard lifetime and a hard childhood. So we'll start off from where he's born. He was born November 10th, 1982 in Pittsburgh, Illinois. And when he was born with some condition that the doctor said that he would not make it to his 18th birthday. I'm not entirely sure what condition that was, but it was something that made him seem very thin, lethargic, and just kind of... He looked very malnourished as a person, but it wasn't like he was doing it to himself. He kind of just... He was just ill. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I was able to find what he had.
I mean, like, some sort of, like, wasting, like, illness that made him spider-like, because he's the Spider-Man. Did he transform into a spider? Did a radioactive spider bite him? Is that what happened to him?
I wish that was the case. And looking it up, it said he had some type of respiratory disease.
Okay.
Making it hard for him to breathe. But the reason why they called him the Spider-Man wasn't because, he got bit by a radioactive spider that changed his genetic code to spring webs out of his wrist and climb on walls. Instead, he was the Spider-Man because he lived in a hole inside someone's house that the police said only a spider could live in.
Do you know that, like, the tarantulas are, like, invading Colorado right now? It's
Really?
Well, there's, like, the annual tarantula migration.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's happening right now. I think it's every year. They, like, they're like, I don't know exactly what the path is. Like, they're born, I think they travel somewhere to have sex, and then go somewhere else to lay eggs, I think. Mm-hmm. And then they die. Or I don't know what the life of a tarantula is.
I think they live a little bit longer than that because, like, Marshall and Crystal, they both have tarantulas, and they've had them for, like, 5-6 years.
Right, I think they go somewhere to go reproduce, and then they return.
Yeah. And I know that Colorado had tarantulas. I have friends that live on the foothills in Lakewood, mm-hmm. and they say that they see them all the time. They have to capture them and release them into the house or outside of the household because they'll go and hide in their basement near the furnace where it's warm.
Yeah.
So it's like, whoa, that's fucking crazy. Can you just imagine, like, you're going downstairs to go do your laundry and all of a sudden you see this giant fucking hairy ass tarantula?
I'd probably shit bricks. Like, literally actually shit myself. But I think I don't know. Once I, like, caught my composure, I would feel like they're kind of cute.
They are kind of cute. And they're, like, the least aggro spider. Like, their teeth are so small, it's hard for them to even bite a person. So, like, I feel like if I saw a tarantula compared to, like, a wolf spider or a black widow, I feel like I'd be a little bit more at ease.
Right, when I'm scared of a spider, it's when I think it's, like, a brown recluse spider. Or I think it's a wolf spider. Something that's actually going to give me some horrible... Or a tarantula will, like, the hairs will, like, itch you. But, like, mm-hmm. it won't, like, bite you and give you some horrible, like injury from it, right?
Yeah, unless if you're actually, like, fucking with it and poking it with a stick, it won't actually attack you.
But
they're more afraid of you than you are of it.
It's more so like you don't want some, like, nasty welt on your ass. But it's like the tarantula isn't going to do anything, but it kind of is cute. It's like furry. It's like a rat is terrifying when you first see it in your basement or whatever it is, but, like, you capture
it and make it domestic, then, like, they're adorable.
I don't know.
What?
I don't know if you could domesticate a wild rat.
Probably not.
I think it's like a wild, it's like wild rat do. They don't regret it.
No, they won't regret it.
But I think
wild rats do.
They don't regret it, but I think this guy was not actually a tarantula.
No, and he wasn't even a brown recluse or anything. He was more like a wolf spider.
Do you think he, like, was, like, raised by spiders? Like, he went into a spider hole and they, like, taught him their ways?
I mean, that could make sense. His dad did die in 88. He was only 6 years old when his dad died, so, like, his mom was around, but she was working all the time, so he probably had friends of spiders and watched where they go and went where they went.
you imagine, like, the spider migration, like, you're at a field somewhere, and then, like, there's just some naked guy, like, crawling on all fours, like... Or I guess he would be backwards, like, in The Exorcist, like, crawling out in the fields. It's like, you'll never catch me. I need flies. Flies. I'm going to trap the biggest grasshopper and eat him.
Ooh, crunchy grasshopper sounds good right now. Have you ever had, like... Have you ever eaten a grasshopper, or, like, maggots or anything like that?
Yes.
How do you feel about them?
I'm good. I mean, I feel like it's the kind of thing, like anything, where it's like, if you don't make it right, it probably isn't good.
I do believe that you could take, like, grasshoppers and crickets and make a good meal out of it. Good mythical morning.
Yeah, like, when I had it, it was, like, seasoned and, like, crispy and, like, delicious, but it was, like, I imagine, like, they're probably not very good, like, boiled. I don't know.
Like, probably not.
Like, you probably have to cook them a certain way, and, like, I don't know, like...
I've heard you have to dehydrate them and bake them.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just put them in a pan and saute them. GMM did, I think it was a grasshopper casserole, where their chef made it, like, spicy and creamy, and they said that they were eating it, and they would eat the noodles and, like, a little bit of grasshopper body, and they said that it was very good, but, like, the texture was off because you get all this soft and creamy, and then all of a sudden it's crunch, crunch, crunch.
Yeah. Crunch. Right, there's someone who's, like, you got, you know, it's like, there's definitely some way to do it. You probably have to, like, you know, get the right spices and everything.
Baharat.
Yeah. Is that a thing?
I know in India it's a thing. Like, grasshoppers are made into, like, fine dinners and snacks.
What's that, the crickets in Mexico?
Oh, they do, dude. Mexican bugs.
I like that stuff looks so good in a. I know it's like piles of bugs, but it looks so good. It's like
it is so good.
Is it like you put it on top of like something like?
No, you just eat them like popcorn.
Okay.
It's like a snack. My stepdad went to Mexico and came back for a little bit, and he brought us scorpions, maggots, and grasshoppers. And honestly, the scorpion was the gross tasting of the three. There's, like, this, like, almost metallic blood flavor from a scorpion compared to, like, a grasshopper.
That's the thing, is that the scorpion you think is going to taste the best because it's, like, the closest to a crab, but it's not a crab at all.
Yeah, you would think it'd be a little bit meatier, but instead it's just, like, this crunch with, like, this film on the inside that tastes horrible. Like, the seasoning that they put on the outside was the same seasoning that they put on all three of them. So, like, when you were eating the maggots and you were eating the grasshopper, you would just get, like, this spicy, chili-like bouillon flavor, and you're like, oh, that's not bad. And the maggots and crickets didn't have any flavor, other flavor than that. It was, like I said, like eating popcorn. Unflavored popcorn just kind of tastes like crunch.
Delicious.
But the scorpion, oh, man, that fucking just, like, blood-flavored, metallic, metal. It wasn't good.
You eat the shell and everything, too?
Whole shell.
Gross.
They, like, dehydrate it to the point where, like, the shell is, like, extra crispy instead of just straight firm and hard. Like, you ever step on a scorpion?
No.
He would show us pictures of him and his older brothers wearing ass-kicking boots. You know, the big bachata boots. Or is it bachata or? There's this one type of boot where it has the giant curl on it, and I can't remember. It starts with a Z, and I think it's a Zacateca boot from Zacatecas. But they, like, curl upwards, and they would use the upward part with one of the foot shoes, since it would come out like that far and go upward, to hold down the fuck is that thing called? Like, their needle on their tail, and then they would use their other boot just to smash inward on their heads. And he was, like, showing pictures because they, like, took pictures of the blood that came out of it, and it was green.
Oh yeah.
And he would tell us, like, that's the venom, and I'm just like, are you sure that's not their blood?
Well, it's like insects have it's not like blood. They're like their bodily fluids, including what their blood is. It's in like it's like instead of having like a blood that circulates around in like vessels, it's just their body, like their organs just sit in the fluid, and like there's muscles that like circulate it around on the inside. So that like goop is just that goop, you know. That
goop looks like antifreeze.
Well, it's got all sorts of stuff in it. I'm sure it's full of protein. It looks like antifreeze.
And like probably some bits of poison.
Is it kind of like, you know, when they kill aliens in movies?
Yeah, where it's like green and slimy. Because it looked like it got stuck to some of their boots too, because it looked like there were stains all over their boots. But that could have been stains from other stuff.
Like the guy when he's inside the giant cockroach alien in Man in Black.
Exactly like that.
So did the Spider-Man was eating bugs up there, right? Was he like much? He was. Well, that was part of his story, right?
When he was young, you know, they moved to Colorado in 2007. So his mom's working for the. She worked for the Denver Brass Works, and she ended up passing. When was it? It was a little bit after they came to Colorado. I think it said when he was like 15, his mother passed. So, like, at this point in time, he's not able to work. She wasn't able to work. She passed, so he was trying to get into work. He drops out of school and starts working and takes over his mother's job as the bookkeeper at Denver Brass Works. So, age of 18, he has nowhere to go. All he has is this job, so he's living on the streets asking for handouts for people. He was even like ridiculed by the common people of Colorado because of how malnourished he looked. So we go on a little bit farther. He's past 18 at this point. It's 1941. He's 59 years old. He surpassed the 18-year marker that the doctor said that he wouldn't make it to by a landslide, of course. And he's going from house to house looking for handouts, and finds this guy named Philip Peters, who he also worked with. Went into his house at 335 West Moncrief Place in Denver to ask for a handout for him, but unfortunately Philip wasn't there. So Theo decides he's going to go into the household, and said he went through the back door, found himself a closet, and in that closet he saw a small little hole that led up to the attic. So he would stay in that hole, which was no bigger than he was. So hence why they called him the Denver Spider-Man, because it was in such a small spacing that not a regular person could actually live up there. So while he's there, he's, you know, going out and stealing food from the fridge. Yes, that's it. He's stealing food from the fridge. He's stealing money. He's not going to work anymore. He completely loses his job due to attendance and is just staying in this household. So he's in there for about 5 weeks, and on the 5th week, Theo is at the fridge trying to get some food, looking for something to eat, when Philip sees him for the first time. So Philip comes up to him to come in and confront him, and instead of just being like, hey, and announcing himself, he came up and clubbed him in the back of the head with his cane. Pissed off, Theo turns around, and with a revolver that he found in the attic, smashes him in the head with it. He smashes him in the head. The gun falls apart since it was so old and frail and hasn't been taken care of. And Philip starts coming back. You know, he's unconscious for maybe a couple of seconds. So Theo decides to grab a iron shaker, like an iron season shaker that was on the oven, and starts smashing him into the head until he dies.
He was murdered with a salt shaker?
He was bludgeoned to death with an iron salt shaker.
Oh, wow.
shows you how desperate Theo was at the time just for a place to eat and stay. Just sad. I mean, nowadays people can go into like the missions or go into that one church that's off of Washington Street, and they can ask for handouts and they'll give them handouts. But I guess at this time,
well, at this moment, no, there's overwhelmingly insane amount of
homeless people, so
Yeah.
there was like no resources for him to even...
I mean, like right now.
Oh, true. Yeah, because of all evictions that have been happening lately.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, there was an eviction that happened in the park just a couple of days ago,
It's crazy.
and they said that they weren't going to be evicting people this year. So it makes me wonder how far they weren't paying for them to get evicted.
It might have been something else.
It could have really been. I know that there was a couple of meth labs that got taken care of a couple of years ago here. Oh yeah, that's a whole story. Our management team of this park that's no longer here, the main lady was splitting deals with like 5 or 6 different homes that if they were supplying, they will sell it at... We have like a little convenience store next to the clubhouse, that little building where the pastor lives now. That used to be a convenience store. And the people that ran that were in the same like ring as the management of our park that were selling meth to people in the park. And that was like in a very insane like sting operation. They had like 6 fucking sheriff officers, 2 SWAT cars come in and fucking just like busted down doors and fucking arrested people. I wish I still had pictures of it. There was a big brown double wide house that was at, you know where our mailboxes are? That last street, if you would go left towards the curve and the cul-de-sac. Mm-hmm. There was like a beat down, half burnt, falling apart trailer that as I was walking by giving an AL a walk, they were like pulling out glass tubings and Bunsen burners and like heavy chemicals out of there. I was just like, oh, that was definitely a meth lab. But yeah, now that's all cleared up and meth isn't circulating through our trailer park anymore. There's now a brand new company that owns the park, which is Essentia, and they hired on their own staff to come and clean up the place.
Well, that's great. We'll be right back. Just kidding. You don't have...
Unpause. There it is. Now a word from our sponsors. There are no sponsors. I'm paying for all of this.
Thank you.
Thank you, sponsors.
Oh, and viewers like you.
And viewers like you make this all happen. We're not doing this to get rich. We're not doing this to make money. I'm only just doing this because it's an entertaining hobby to do.
It's a podcast. They're listeners. They're not viewers.
I mean, if they're viewing it on YouTube.
What are they viewing? They're just viewing a picture.
Well, they're viewing multiple... I put in, like, slideshows for our podcast so people know what we're talking about.
Hey, in the comments, write what you're seeing right now.
Are you seeing your house? Are you seeing your... Are you listening to us in your car while you're driving? And if so, you better not be typing in the comments, and you better wait until you get home to type in the comments.
Oh my god. Aggressively commenting on YouTube videos while driving. Just everything.
Just pulling over real quick and going off like, oh my god, I can't believe you guys are saying this. I'm on I-70 right now trying to make sure I don't hit someone.
Oh my god. You're watching YouTube on your phone in your car while you drive. And just like you just can't handle the drama. You're like, you have to respond to the drama video.
It's like you're watching a Jake Paul video and you just have to pull over because you want to yell at Jake Paul for a second. Speaking of which, he this past week he got raided by the FBI.
Oh, I know. I'm following it intimately. It's fascinating.
Did you see all the weapons that they were pulling out?
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, how did you get a 50 cal sniper rifle with a barrel magazine?
I don't know.
Like,
Probably, I don't know.
I was watching H3H3, and they were like,
Was that illegal? Is that why the FBI took it?
Yes. And he's also being investigated for tax evasion.
Oh, I thought it was because he looted that mall.
Like, that's the starting of it.
I see. Yeah.
They used that to go and try seeing if they can arrest him. They didn't have anything on that.
The feds were after him?
Yeah. And now they're trying to say that he has $250,000 in tax evasion that he's been pushing off and not paying on. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dude, why aren't you paying your taxes? Well, I pay my taxes. You pay your taxes. What? It's not hard.
That's what you're asking about this person? There's a lot of questions. That's like, that's like number 35 on the question. Oh, you're not paying your taxes. What is Shonda? Like,
I don't even question Jake Paul anymore or Logan Paul because they are wild women that do and don't regret it ever. And I mean, I respect that of them. I respect them as artists. I respect them as creators. But like, I don't respect you if you're not going to pay your taxes. It's not hard just to pay a bill. That's like ordering Grubhub and not paying the Grubhub for your food.
No, yeah, not paying your taxes is pretty shitty.
Like, the taxes go back into our community. Yeah, it may not be spread evenly, but the way I see it is, if I'm paying taxes, I'm paying for this school that's down the street, and I'm paying for them to get books for their children. Like, think of the kids. The kids, they need their schooling. So, Philip Peters, bludgeoned to death. He's 79 years old, October 17th, 1941. He's dead. Later on in the evening, Pete's neighbor...
Wait, so he killed 2 people?
No, he killed 1 person.
Oh.
He only killed 1 person.
Okay.
So Pete's neighbor was getting very, very suspicious since Pete didn't come home for dinner, according to the neighbor. So the neighbor's
Pete?
The Pete's guy who died.
I thought his name was Philip.
Oh, yep, I wrote that incorrectly. So Philip. Philip didn't come home for dinner, so his neighbor calls the police, right? DPD ends up going to the house. They knock on the door. Door's open. So they go into the household and they find Philip laying on the ground in a pool of his own blood, dead. They take him in. They're trying to find foul play. They're trying to find murder weapon. They're trying to find some sort of evidence to match to why Pete was killed in his kitchen and sitting in his own blood. So time has passed. The house is quote unquote vacant, and the DPD would occasionally go by due to hooligans calling saying that there was a person in the window. You said that there was kids that were walking by and saw his face in a window, right?
Yeah, that's like the only thing I really remember from the story was that the like before this guy ever got killed, people would be fucking freaked out in the neighborhood. The people thought the house was haunted because like these kids like walked by and were like looking at the window in the attic. And if you're not like familiar with the types of houses this are, it's like one of these like tiny little like Denver like bungalow houses where it's like
it's a 1-story home.
Yeah, like everything's on one floor. There's a basement, but like the attic is just sort of like this triangle. Like it's not like a full space. There's like a window in the front, and they saw a face like in the window. It's not even like a full. It's like a storage space that's up there.
Hold on.
Around here is just really like vigorous and like makes it rise a lot. So you have to like moderate how much you let it rise.
Yeah,
because it's crazy.
Because I did this one time where I did 2 loaves and I let them sit overnight, and there was like 2 inches of dough and like 6 inches of gap between the dough and the crust. It rose so big and I was so excited.
You don't add any other yeast to it, right?
No.
Right, so it's like that's usually sourdough. That's also a factor of just the altitude in general, probably, but it's like
like just with air and like pressure, like making it rise more. But it just, the yeast out here are like really intense. That's why, like, you know, people make like really crazy beers. I had this really good beer at Sal's last night. That was
Oh yeah, what type of beer was it?
It was a sour beer. I know you don't like sour beer, but it was like,
There's some that are good.
it was made in Glenwood, and the place sounded really cool.
Ooh, if Glenwood wasn't on fire right now, I'd say let's go.
No, I was thinking it'd be fun to go to a brewery once, you know, shit opens back up.
Did you hear how crazy this Glenwood fire is becoming?
I did hear about it. Is that the one that you smell at night now?
Yes, this is the one that you go outside and you can constantly smell.
I like you. It's like
It's like a couple of times this summer where I'm like, is the neighborhood on fire? No, the forest in the distance is on fire.
Yeah. So,
Are we recording?
yeah. Wait, are we recording right now? So back...
We're gonna get sued.
Ah, crap, when was it? I think it was back in 98. There was a fire on Glenwood Springs.
Yeah, we talked about this in one of the podcasts.
Where it, like, jumped over
Yeah.
and it completely scorched the entire mountain range.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the big thing about that fire is that it would, like, it jumped the highway, and instead, this fire that's currently happening lit the highway on fire.
oh wow.
So they had to shut down the highway from Glenwood Springs.
Like I-70 or that other one? The one that we were on.
285, the one we were on.
Oh wow.
Because the reason why it's even on fire is because right before we went up there for camping in Carbondale,
Yeah.
is they just put down new asphalt.
Mm-hmm.
They just redid the road, so it's still kind of wet still. So the road's literally just on fire now.
Wow.
This fire has been going for like 3-4 days. The first day, they said they had it 30% contained. The second day, still 30. And then today, 10.
Okay.
And it is now scorched over 100, or is it 1,300 acres
Damn.
of forestry out in Glenwood?
Shit.
But yeah, very sad time. Our state's on fire. It's not happy.
No.
Guys, if you're out going to go camping here very shortly, make sure to keep a water basin on you at all times, filled with water to the brim. Drown your fire. Make Smokey the Bear proud.
He's gonna come into your... He knows where you live.
He knows where you live and he will pee in your Wheaties.
Yes.
Don't keep Cheerios open.
No.
So, let's get back to the story. The police are constantly called. Kids keep saying that they're seeing a ghost up in the attic because in these small little bungalows, there's a small little window for the attic just for air ventilation. Mm-hmm. And they were saying that they saw a person's face, right? So, DPD would constantly be called out there to go check on the household. And there was absolutely nobody there until July 30th, 1942. Now let's think. Philip was killed October 17th, 1941. 8 months later, DPD is going and investigating the house from a call from someone saying that there was somebody in the house. As soon as they get into the house and they're walking around on the main level, they hear a click from upstairs. Now this is a bungalow. There shouldn't be an upstairs.
No, there's like... It's like a crawl space. It's not like a real...
Exactly. So they're like, okay, what the hell? DPD sends more people into it. They're looking around, and they see one person named... It was Detective Fred Zanaro. Saw a leg going into this small hole inside of a closet, and as he's seeing this leg go in there, he comes up and grabs the leg and pulls him down, and would you know, it's fucking Theo. Theo, what you doing up there?
Theo!
So they pull him down, they take him into custody, and he immediately admits to killing him and said he has been living here for about 8 months to almost a year now. So
So spooky! Can you imagine if someone was just like living in your house in the walls and you had no idea?
No. Like, I get sketched out when we have mice out here since we're in an open field. I get sketched out when I hear mice going through our fucking, like, walls. And I'm like, I need to put more traps down. I need to keep these traps up to date and need to get more traps. I can't imagine what frickin' Philip was hearing throughout the fucking house.
Right. Or, right? You have, like, a person living like a rat in your attic.
So Fred Zarno goes on to the news, finally declares Theo as the Denver Spider-Man. He makes the news, he makes KDVR, he makes WD2, and he's all over everywhere. He gets tried and ends up getting sentenced. And the one thing that Frank Zarno said that kind of captured every single news article's eye was the phrase, a man would have had to be a spider to stand it long up there. Meaning, like, that space was so small, only a spider could live there.
And he was like a tiny person, right? Like, he was super skinny when they found him.
Yeah, he was 6'1", and only weighed 80 pounds.
Damn.
So he was a very, very malnourished person.
What was he eating? Bugs?
I think he was eating just scraps.
Oh, like shit he would steal.
Yeah, shit he would steal. He would leave the household to go and, like, scavenge for food and shit. And I mean, that's probably like going across the streets and finding leftover shit that people threw away in the trash can, like Benny's Pizzas or whatever. I know that's wasn't probably around at that point in time, but there was probably some, like, pizza chain out here that he was stealing from. Maybe like a Pizza Hut or a Domino's.
Yeah.
But he gets convicted. He was tried in Denver County, but ends up getting such a severe sentence. He gets life sentence, and he gets sent to the Canyon City Max Penitentiary. You know anything about Canyon City?
Yeah, of course. That's where the Unabomber is.
That's where the Unabomber is. That's where James Holmes is. Charles Manson was held there for a little bit when he was on death row.
He wasn't on death row.
He was for a brief moment, but they overruled it due to insanity. Jeffrey Dahmer was also tried there and placed there.
But he was, I thought that was in Wisconsin. Because wasn't he killed in prison?
Yeah, he ended up getting shipped out of Colorado due to security breaches.
Wait, that's like where they have, like, the 9/11 guy.
Yeah, that's where, like, if you do something super, super bad, you will go to Canyon City.
Yeah.
My brother was sent to Canyon City as a juvenile for a little bit. He ended up getting out of there on good behavior, but I hear it's one of the worst penitentiaries. Next to Buena Vista and Salida's Max Penn.
I mean, yeah, it's not the Martha Stewart one. So what happened to the Spider-Man? Is he dead? He's dead.
He died.
Oh yeah, you said.
So he
That's spooky. That's very spooky.
While he was in the Canyon City Penitentiary, he was moved into their hospital care due to his respiratory health, and ended up dying May 16th, 1967 of natural causes. Which is kind of like, I guess that's really shitty, but I feel like there was some sort of foul play with that, because there is no autopsy for him. There is no cause of death. All they say is he died May 16, 1967 of a natural cause. So was it natural cause due to his respiratory issues? Did he just stop breathing one day? Because at this time, let's see, he was 59 years old, 49. So 60. He was 60 years old when he was caught, and then.
So he died because he was old.
Yeah, he was 80 something years old and died. Which I guess for a guy that was told that he was only going to live until 18, that's pretty impressive.
Oh my god! Like when Artie Ziff was like living in a closet. That's what that was based off of this? In The Simpsons?
Yeah. They literally have a couple of episodes that have been featured based off of this story. Like, if you go and look into CSI Crime Scene Investigators, the first series, there is an episode called Stalker, which is about a guy who's living in the attic of this woman's home that's trying to hurt her, and he ends up killing a person. And then if you look into The Simpsons, the Ziff who came to dinner, I guess you said it was the Ziffer that's living in the closet?
Well, that's like Artie was like in love with Marge and like went to prom, and like she left him at the prom to marry Homer, and so he like always wanted to be with her and like came back, and he was this like rich like computer mogul, and it was like,
and he lived in their closet?
He's like spying on him. I don't remember the episode, but I remember like there was this, he would sing songs, like it was like he had like this machine that he like installed in their home, and it was like, sweet dreams are made of this, I am watching you through a camera.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We definitely have to go fucking watch that episode now. I was telling Ellie that we needed to watch it, and we just kind of forgot to get it, but like, that's... I don't understand how this dude was able to live in this household 8 months past when Philip died, because Philip's the one that was like bringing in the food. He was bringing in everything, right? He was the main provider he worked at the railroad company that he also worked at, the Denver Brass Railroad Company. So like he was the main bread maker. So after he died, how's this fool getting so much food? How is he still able to live? Is he, like you said, eating bugs? Is he eating grasshoppers and spiders?
I mean, you know, there's lots of people throw out a lot of food.
Did he put on his shit-kicking boots, step on the scorpion's tail, and then smash it and eat it?
Waited outside at Dunkin' Donuts until they closed.
The Wenchels?
The Wenchels.
But I don't know. Would you ever try doing that? Would you try to... If you were really... Look, put yourself in his situation. You're homeless. Would you go in and, like, invade someone's crawl space in their attic to live?
No, what kind of conversations? There's like many other situations that are better than that.
Yeah, like...
That's like a very unsafe situation to put yourself in. Like, you will get killed. Or, like, you'll get caught. Like, unless they're like, I don't know.
Especially with Colorado's gun laws, like, but I feel like it's a lot more sketchier to do now than it was back then.
No, we're telling this story because it's so fucking weird. That's like, it's not like something somebody would do.
Like, I would more likely just go to a food bank, try getting some food, and try surviving that way.
I don't know. I would personally not choose to be a Spider-Man, though.
I don't think I would either.
I wouldn't choose to be Spider-Man. You know, just not feeling the spider identity. But if you are, good for you.
You want to be Peter Parker? If you could climb up buildings, would you?
No, he just does. Dude, that man does not seem like he's having a good time. He seems like he's...
And Peter or Theo?
Well, neither of them. But Spider-Man doesn't seem like he's having a good time.
No.
No superhero seems like they're having a good time.
I can imagine the life of a superhero is very, very lonely and tiresome. Like, you have to be a vigilante at night, you have to always keep your identity secret. There goes fucking trying to find love.
Well, you need melodrama in order for the story to be good. So they always have shit going on in their personal lives. Otherwise it would be boring.
You know, Uncle Ben's dead. Mary Jane doesn't love him until she finds out he's actually Spider-Man. Then she's like, oh, security.
Then she dies. I don't know.
And then she's captured by Dr. Octopus and the Sandman. And my dad, he comes in and is just like, yo, it's my house.
This is my house.
I am the man of my house. Well, I want to give credit to Murderpedia.com. They did help me out figuring out this stuff. They even had a huge thing about Philip, but his life was taken very sadly, and it was not fair for his life to be taken as such. Philip didn't deserve to die. He was just trying to protect his own home. What do you smell?
It's like a photocopier. Do you smell that?
You could be smelling the shit from that.
Oh.
That Cricut printer does have weird smells.
Oh.
For those that don't know, I just got my fiance a Cricut maker. She has been having some fun with that.
And since you can't see, I was like sniffing around the room like a dog. Like just.
And I was wondering, it's like, are you smelling my ass? I just farted a second ago.
Oh god, is it just that?
What?
No, it's not a fart. It just smells like a plastic, like warm plastic. Not hot, not burnt, just warm.
Just warm plastic.
And electricity.
All I smell is sourdough. The air is just filled with sourdough. I just took 2 loaves out of the oven.
Uh-oh, am I having a stroke? No, I'm just kidding.
Does anyone smell toast?
That was very spooky.
What? Are you still smelling it? We're investigating now, trying to find the smell. The smelly smell. That smells smelly.
Smell my fingers. Do you smell it on my fingers?
Yes.
That's what I'm smelling.
Yes, it's your fingers.
Is that the Cricut grease?
Yes.
Oh. Okay, never mind, America. Everything's fine.
You probably touched that black marker, and that black marker was in the Cricut.
I think I put it in my mouth, actually.
It's not like it's gonna poison you.
I like grow like a second tongue.
Hey, there's a Simpsons episode for you. Bart goes and licks the printer ink and ends up growing a second tongue that's different colors. If Matt Groening is listening, hit us up for a story idea.
Oh, we're definitely getting sued. Absolutely.
But I appreciate everybody for listening to us. I know we haven't posted in quite a while. Some things have come up. We did try to do a podcast in Carbondale, but unfortunately we lost all of the data on that and got very discouraged. But if you would like to hear more from us, don't forget to leave a like and a thumbs up on this video, share to your friends, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. You can find us on all social medias at Campfire Thought. And if you would like to join the conversation or have any ideas on what we should talk about next, email us at campfirethopughtspodcast.com or at gmail.com. And I hope everybody has a very spooky day. Protect yourself from the people that are living in your attics, and make sure to keep spider spray on you at all times.
And remember to wash your hands.
You may want to go gargle some mouthwash. I have some in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Thank you, America.
Thank you.